Hey y'all, welcome back to Healing and Dealing. Healing from a TBI and a brainwashed world. But maybe it's more appropriate to say a poisoned world. Because as we learned in our last episode, toxins and poisons, and they are everywhere.
A toxic substance can be anything that can be poisonous or cause adverse health effects, including products we use daily, such as household cleaners, prescription and over-the-counter drugs, gasoline and fuel, alcohol, pesticides, and cosmetics.
Toxins are naturally occurring compounds produced by living organisms like plants, fungi, bacteria, algae, and animals. Any chemical can be toxic or harmful under certain conditions. Some substances are more toxic than others. Toxins are one of those environmental factors that cause chronic disruptions of the neural circuits of the brain, which affect its functioning, interfering with the ordinary conduct of life, creating motivational, emotional, and social maladjustments.
Paracelsus, the Renaissance physician, said all things are poison and nothing is without poison. The dosage alone makes the thing not a poison.
Last episode, we read from the book What's Toxic, What's Not by Dr. Gary Ginsberg, a toxicologist, and Brian Toll, who works in preventing community exposure to toxins. Their introduction, they say, toxic chemicals are a legitimate source of worry, and almost all food contains trace level of heavy metals, pesticides, or persistent chemicals.
So we did a search for toxins present in our food supply and found a long list, and this is just partial. Growth and dietary hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, BPA, plastics and plasticizers, high fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners, preservatives, trans fats, artificial and natural flavors, food dyes, monosodium glutamate, MSG, heavy metals and neurotoxins like lead, aluminum, mercury, and arsenic, dioxin, and GMOs.
One of Dr. Amen's, the popular author and television psychiatrist, tips for a healthy brain is reduce exposure to toxins. So let's learn more about the toxins in food. Section 2 of the book, What's Toxic, What's Not, deals with toxins in what we eat, drink, and buy at the store. We'll read now from the intro to Chapter 5.
I got this. So Chapter 5, Food Toxins. Food toxicology is in many ways a Pandora box. When we open the lid, a legion of chemicals spill out into the light of day and we can't stuff them back inside. We're talking about the basic elements of life, what we put into our bodies every day. If that's contaminated, then we're contaminated. What is the health effect of all this food contamination? The answer to that question can seem elusive and complex. Public health toxicologists often tread lightly on the subject because of the lack of concrete answers, and because many of the questions we raise challenge the choices we're used to making as consumers and as a society. Furthermore, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, technically has responsibility for food safety, so it's sometimes convenient to refer the tough questions to them. Safeguarding America's food supply is a difficult job, especially since certain contaminants are pretty much unavoidable.
For today's study, we're gonna learn about toxins in our food and read from The Food Babe Way by Vanny Hari.
All right, so we'll start with her disclaimer. This eating plan or any other program should be followed without first consulting a healthcare professional. If you have any special or medical conditions requiring attention, you should consult with your healthcare professional regularly regarding possible modifications of the program contained in this book. Even though we're not going to read everything in her book to you, I think it's fair just to say this. The author's references to various products are for informational purposes only and not intended as an endorsement for those products from the author, her book, or the publisher, or us. Statements made about the products and description of the products are accurate as of the writing of this book, November 2014. This one, by the way, is 1985. So going back, let's read from her book. Most of us are completely oblivious to what we're eating and its impact on our health and our world. We know little about how our food is grown, how our seeds are engineered, how our farming methods harm the soil, air, and water, and contribute to climate change and dead zones in our oceans. We are mostly unaware of the chemicals that are added to our foods and how the hormones, antibiotics, plastics, and toxins we eat every day in our foods harm our bodies. How could we know that? We're eating silly putty in our French fries and yoga mat softeners in our bread. Or cancer-causing preservatives such as BHA and BHT, which have been banned in every country but ours, or that dyes and coloring agents in our macaroni and cheese may cause hyperactivity and behavioral problems in our children, or that natural flavorings are made from ground-up animal parts, or that common foods contain secretions from beavers' anal glands. Ew. How could we know that apart from the calories we eat, many of the chemicals in our food are obesogens, contributing to an obesity epidemic that is weighing down our nation and increasingly the world as we create the worst diet on the planet and export it to every other nation except Cuba and North Korea? How could we know that most of the 10,000 additives in our food supply have never been proven safe and are given a free pass by the Food and Drug Administration? The science of nutrition has uncovered a radical new way of looking at food. Food is not just energy, food is information. It contains instructions that communicate messages to your genes, hormones, immune system, gut flora, in fact, every system of your body. This changes everything we know about food. Health results from the quality of information we put in our bodies. And as you saw, there's a pretty darn long list of stuff. And that's obviously just a partial list because we didn't get to 10,000. Y'all, we're not medical professionals and we do not give medical advice. We're just trying to learn all we can about the world around us and how it affects our brain and mental health.
Discuss this with your medical team, but remember, you are the boss of that team. Unfortunately, your health, ultimately your health and well-being is your responsibility alone. So learn all you can and do your best. Get your medical records and look at your chart. Know your diagnosis. Know what medications you're on, the dosage and purposes.
Again, and like always, we're dealing with a subject that can encompass a lifetime of learning. We appreciate you joining us on this journey. We want the best for you. So what can we do to protect ourselves from all these toxins in food? You want to read that?
Buy less products that come in boxes or cans. Read the labels. Buy organic when possible, and wash all fruits and vegetables, smaller portions, don't store or reheat food in plastic, stop drinking sodas.
Yep. Remember, no matter how toxic a substance may be, if you're not exposed to it, it can't affect your health. The most important rule is minimize your exposure.
We know from our past episodes, a healthy brain is attentive. The limbic system controls mood, memory, and appetite. We don't always crave what is best for us. Neuroplasticity is the capacity of our brain cells to change in response to our behavior. Breaking away from habitual patterns increases neuroplasticity.
Yep. So with that in mind, here are Hannah Kroger's 10 Commandments of Perfect Health. 1. Accept criticism as the other person's problem, not yours. Appreciate yourself and reaffirm your self-worth whenever necessary. See the good points in circumstances. See even problems as happening for the best. Rather than looking backward with sorrow, look forward with joyous expectation. Rather than fretting about what you do not have, appreciate what you have. Learn from mistakes so that you can convert them into triumphs. Insulate yourself from distasteful surroundings through wholesome attachment. I think we can apply that to food here. Let go of what you no longer need and make the most of what you now attract. Grow in courage and self-mastery from every circumstance. Again, we can apply this to food. And be aware of the larger consciousness of which you are a part. These might be called the 10 Commandments to good health, but they are beyond the physical, in the unseen world of consciousness. Observe them and enjoy perfect health.
This week's challenge is to eat better. Have a great week. We'll catch you on the flip side.